Welcome back. iJust Cards, episode 10. This episode, we're doing some heavy hitters of baseball. Now, before we get through the stack here, it's interesting because now in the 90s, you had, the steroids. Pretty complicated history of baseball. You had the strike, and it kind of put a black eye on baseball and baseball cards in general. And it's weird that, like, for the Hall of Fame, some players, get in. You don't know if they used or not. They make it in if they for sure were never tested positive. And that's where it's strange, because then you look at a guy like Bud Selig. Now, Bud Selig, he does sign through the mail. Me personally, I will not send to him. I'm not a huge fan of his. He owned the Brewers in the 80s and then became, commissioner in the 90s. And for him to get inducted into the Hall of Fame after, he was running baseball throughout the strike and the steroids issue, it seems odd where and why he would get the pass, yet certain players don't get that pass. And it's strange. They did a 30 for 30 on McGuire and Sosa. So it just seemed kind of strange that, baseball was kind of in the dumps after the strike, and all of a sudden, these players are hitting home runs, and all of a sudden, viewership's coming back, attendance going up. And then now all these guys get blackballed. So, not a real good look for baseball, and the reason I bring that up is I do have one guy in the stack here that has Hall of Fame numbers, did test positive, so probably won't see the Hall. But anyway, so this week's stack, we got a good one here. Started off, we got Chris Sabo. We got Wade Boggs. We got Ryne Sandberg. We got Ron Gant. We got John Olerud. We got Danny Tartabull. And then we got our Texas trio. We got Ruben Sierra. We got Rafael Palmeiro. We got Juan Gonzalez. And then to wrap it up, we got kind of a curveball here. We got Colin Powell. So, let's dig in. First one up, we got Chris Sabo. Now, Chris Sabo, member of most the Reds, 88 Rookie of the Year, won the World Series with the Reds in 90. And I always liked him because he wore the rec specs. So let's check out the card here. Looks like it's a Don Russ Diamond Kings with the blue ink here. It's a pretty sweet one there. Now I have an autographed ball from him too, so this one will go good with the ball. So thank you, Mr. Sabo. Appreciate that one. Next up, Wade Boggs. Now Wade Boggs, Hall of Famer, had 3,000 hits, Red Sox, Yankees, and then finished up with the Devil Rays. Let's check out the cards here. Or card. Instead of one of these Score Dream Teams with the blue ink. Pretty cool one there from the Hall of Famer. Thank you, Mr. Boggs. Appreciate that one. Okay, and then we got Ryne Sandberg, another Hall of Famer. Played with the Cubbies. And the cool thing about the Cubs back in the 90s, they were always on WGN in the summers, usually early games. And I'd always watch mainly for Harry Carey in the 7th inning stretch. I just loved when he'd come out and sing the song. And it was funny looking back, because when you look at those Cubs teams, man, they were just horrendous. It's like they lost more games than they won most seasons. But anyway, so let's check out the card here. So another Dream Team card here. the blue ink, similar to that Boggs. It's a pretty cool one there. Thank you, Mr. Sandberg. Appreciate that one. Next up, Ron Gant. And I mentioned Ron Gant in the previous episode with the Twins. Now, Ron Gant, I mean, I always remember him as with the Braves. I know he bounced around a little bit after that, but a guy that, you know, he had a few 30 for 30, you know, seasons, 30 knocks, you know, 30 stolen bases. So, you know, an all-around threat. So let's check out the cards here. So first one I sent him here, one of these Donruss Diamond Kings with the blue ink. And the next one here, 91 Upper Deck. Looks like this card got a little mucked up in the mail here. Can slide this in with those 91 Twins that I got. Thank you, Mr. Gant. Appreciate those. Next up, John Olerud. John Olerud, Blue Jays. I know he bounced around a little bit after Mariners. I believe the Mets. But you remember him most, you know, with those Blue Jays teams, those 92, 93 back-to-back World Series. And then obviously, you know, he wore the helmet. He played first base, and he always wore a helmet. Okay, looks like we got 3 cards in this one here. Let's see. So, okay, so we signed 2 of the 3. So there's the unsigned one, probably the worst card of all of them. So it's good he didn't sign this one. Donruss Triple Play. Throw that one to the side. So let's hit check one here. Tops. It's a pretty good signature there with the Blue Jays. And then this one here, we got a score with the Blue Jays also with the blue ink. And that's the thing with through the mail. You know, sometimes they sign them all, sometimes they don't sign any, but a guy like John Olerud, you know, potentially can make the Hall of Fame. I know he's in the Canadian Hall of Fame, but a solid player. So thank you, Mr. Olerud. I appreciate those. Next up, Danny Tartabull. And Danny Tartabull, a guy who, you know, pretty good career early on. You know, usually can be good for 30 knocks, 100 ribbies. You know, I remember most of the Royals. I know he went to the Yankees and a host of other teams. Let's check it out. Okay, so I sent him 2 cards here. Let's see if he signed them both. He did. So let's start with the the Fleer 90. It looks like maybe he folded it up on the side, but the signature is a sweet signature though. So that's the first one with the Royals. And then the second one here looks like a Pinnacle Shades card. This is probably, yeah, so this one's with the Yankees. This is a pretty sweet card too. So thank you, Mr. Tartabull. Appreciate those. Now, if you guys, I promoted somebody a previous episode, so I'm going to promote one more here. If you like TTM, like you're seeing here, check this guy out. And then if you enjoy like current stuff, this guy opens up a lot of current packs, does the breaks, and he also sells some of the stuff. So check him out, House of Cards. He does a pretty good job with his videos too. So shout out House of Cards. Okay, let's do the Texas Trio now. Now, Ruben Sierra, a guy who played, you know, 20 years, you know, hit 300-plus home runs. It was interesting to see him come to Minnesota and finish out his career here, because it's like, as a Minnesota fan, you're always going against those guys that hit the home runs against you, so it was cool to see him come here. Granted, wasn't much gas left in the tank by the time he got here. And that's where, side note, it's cool to see Nelson Cruz with the Twins. But, so let's check out the card here, Ruben Sierra. Let's see. Okay, so a Fleer 90. Take it out of the little protector sleeve here. Fleer 90 with the blue ink. That's a sweet one there. So thank you, Mr. Sierra. Appreciate that one. Next up, Rafael Palmeiro. A guy who just mashed his whole career, you know, bounced between Texas and Baltimore and then did it again and again. And a guy who, like you said, you know, he has solid numbers, and that's just where the steroid issue, it just, I don't know, it just complicates things with baseball. But let's just check out the card here. So, okay, cool. So another Fleer 90 with the blue ink. It's a pretty sweet one there from Mr. Palmeiro. So thank you, Mr. Palmeiro. Hopefully someday you see the haul. Okay, next up, Juan Gonzalez. Oh, Juan Gant. Now, Juan Gant, I mean, this guy just mashed. I mean, yeah, one of probably the better hitters or best hitters in the 90s, most feared hitters. And him, too, it's interesting why he doesn't kind of get those looks for the Hall of Fame. But check out the card here. I believe it. Oh, yeah. So another Fleer 90. So I got all three of these the same cards. Let's see. Yep. Blue ink here. From old Juan Gant. It's a pretty cool one there. Now I suppose I just need Julio Franco and we can complete it. So, okay. Last one up here. Colin Powell. You know, so Colin Powell. Interesting that he has a baseball card when I found it. You know, 4-star general, you know, former Secretary of the State under G.W. Bush, you know, and one hell of an American. So, check out the card here. See here, it looks like, okay, one of these Bowmans with the silver ink. That's a pretty sweet one there. Now, why he has a card, I have no idea. But thank you, Mr. Powell. Appreciate that one. So it looks like that's it here for episode 10, iJust Cards. Don't forget to like, dislike, share, comment, and I think next episode, I think we're gonna go back to basketball. I think I got some 89 hoops cards we'll do in the next episode. So until then, take care.
iJust.